Hey guys, Richard at Ryden's Room here, doing my latest review again from the shed. I wasn't working so late or up so early in the morning. I'd do this properly with the background and all that stuff, and my talking has lured the ferrets over. That is Rocket there, because he's head looking up. Next to him is Quill, named after good old Star-Lord. Yeah, Chris Pratt's character in Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, he's the Guardians of the Shed. So yes, on to it. Random thing for the day, just the latest book I'm reading. It's one I read, shower she was watching my friend Chantel. I was crashing at hers for about a few weeks in 2013, and I went picking this one up from the library because I read the previous one, Order 66. I read Order 66, it is so bad. Starts off well but ends awfully. I did like this book, but we'll see how I feel now. I read all the other ones and picked up on the bias towards certain characters that the author has. But yeah, anyway, on to it, back to the episodes. This is episode 8, I actually checked this time, of the second new series called The Impossible Planet. Oh, hello Quill. There he is. Hello. Pausing the screen though. Yeah, you're done. Right, so yes, episode 8, The Impossible Planet, part 1 of The Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit two-parter. So yeah, on to it. Yeah, good episode, but it's not really that memorable. I don't know if it's because this is part 1 or the entire story overall wasn't that great, and it's not one I really went back to. I don't think I've even watched this again since 2012, but yeah, it's enjoyable, but kind of just there. It's an episode you could skip. So basically the plot is the Doctor and Rose end up in some space station, and it turns out they're orbiting spaceship, not space station. They're orbiting a black hole, and somehow nothing is being sucked into the black hole. You know, obviously black holes are meant to, anything that gets in range gets sucked in, and it just somehow isn't. Like, their ship can just hover near it. There's even a planet right next to it, and none of it's being like sucked in. And the Doctor has absolutely no idea how this is possible. And of course, you got the old theories. Futurama tested them both. The episode from the first series when Bender's female Bender's girlfriend, I suppose, the Countess, gets sucked into a black hole in the Titanic episode, and Fry, tries to reassure Bender by saying that perhaps she's, just fallen into another dimension or something, and the professor sort of agrees, humouring Bender, but no, not a chance. So yeah, either way, nothing is getting sucked into this black hole somehow, and they got no idea how this is happening. So that's part of the story. The other part is the devil walks among us. Basically, you've got this evil language written on. You got this guy gets completely possessed by it. His eyes turn bright red, and basically, what is obviously the devil starts talking through him, basically saying how everyone's going to die, and it just gradually begins picking off each person one by one. Like all Base Under Siege type episodes. And there's my ferret climbing to the top of the cage for some reason. Or somebody else to smell. Oh yeah, there's some food above which you can smell. Okay, so yeah, lots of actors, but again, most of them are just really underdeveloped. I'm pretty sure they all get a bit more in part 2, but so far it's just kind of a crew of different sort of people who one by one die. So yeah, you've got every a mixture of people. You've got the too long to go into it, but yeah, effectively none of these characters really got any motivation, and by the end of the episode a couple of them are dead already. So you got the one guy who's possessed by the devil, and you've got the Ood, their first ever appearance. Basically think Dr. Zoidberg from Futurama with a big sphere. They're like a slave alien race, which no one seems to have a problem with, because apparently they just die if they don't get orders, and they communicate telepathically with this big energy ball, which when they get possessed or by the devil, they can use it to electrocute people to death. As you see, one of the characters doesn't even say a word, gets zapped, and while the guy's possessed, he basically blows the window apart, causing the the younger woman to get sucked to her death, which is pretty cruel. But yeah, again, even this woman who dies, she's just there, and she's 20. That's it. Likewise, the guy who gets zapped and hit by the Ood, the guy doesn't talk, so the first no doubt the extra of the show. That's pretty much it. One other thing that did spring to mind, and this is what I've always disliked about Series 2's unevenness, when the Doctor finds out that the TARDIS has basically been lost, the part of the ship it was on has been shot out into space or something, and the TARDIS has gone with it, and has certainly gone in, and it's just gone. There's no way of recovering it, and there's not enough fuel or tech to get to it, and basically the Doctor is completely trapped there. Rose forgives him for that. What was always a good chance of happening has finally happened. And so it gets interesting. Basically, he starts Doctor starts wondering what he's going to do with his life now. He can still travel around to other planets, but he certainly can't go in time or anything. He can't build new TARDIS because they're grown. And he's basically thinking like, wow, yeah, I don't have to buy a house with walls and doors. And then Rose is like sort of like saying, it's not so bad, we could just share a place, and Doctor's like, anyway, it's like quickly keen to avoid that conversation. He doesn't do anything to stop it, but he doesn't like this conversation, the idea of Rose talking about them living together. So yeah, this is my Maestro Series 2. This is not obviously Davies' written episode, and it showed. Not due to the quality of writing, just the Rose stuff. Clearly, the Doctor isn't interested in romantic relationship with Rose in this episode. That shows, even if the writer writes Rose to be that way. But later episodes, it'll be very different. And yeah, that's my issue with this series. Ultimately, the characterization is just all over the place. If Rose isn't just some bitch who is really insufferable, or even the Doctor is just makes Rose the most important person in the universe by a long way, e.g. last episode when that's the reason he took action against the villain, because actually he had Rose got the same treatment as everyone else. It's stuff like that. So yeah, in this episode, Doctor doesn't want anything romantic, clearly. But yeah, it comes up, and of course different, right, and eventually different result. But yeah, so I like it that that's clearly point of this episode, no romance. But yeah, don't get used to it. Let's put it that way. So yeah, that's it. So again, nothing really happens. It's like you got a mixture of characters. No one is really developed whatsoever. The episode ends with the Doctor going to the base with one of the other women. One was the older, basically. Yeah, the woman who got killed was the young one, 20, but the actress had to be older, and this woman is probably about 30ish. So yeah, the Doctor and her are in the base. Rose and the others are on the ship, which is like everyone's gonna die soon enough. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So slightly longer video than I thought I would, to be honest, but. Yeah, no, it's right in the moment. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So on to part 2 tomorrow, which I'm sure is a much better episode, much like Sideman 1, where part 2 is the better one. I'm sure it's the case. So yeah, until then, thank you.